News at noon starts right now.
Well, what's in San Antonio's nearly $4 billion budget? Well, the first draft of the city's annual spending plan was just unveiled at a council meeting. And City Hall reporter Garrett Berger joins us now to take us through all the highlights. Garrett.
Well, it may be the largest ever budget for the city, but it's also the first time in several years that they've really needed to start throttling back. This includes a plan to cut more than $36 million over the next 2 years, and city staff say more cuts are needed for next year. The cuts don't include any staff, though, or major programs, but here's some stuff that is in the budget proposal. The city's continuing its 5-year plan to add 360 patrol officers onto San Antonio streets. There's money to do more than 1,600 street maintenance projects, and the city's expecting to tackle even more homeless camp cleanups this year. It's also trying to chew more into animal care services response rate to critical calls like neglect and cruelty, and it'll be opening spay and neuter clinics on the east and west side. Now, the city's not planning to change its tax rate, but it does have plans to boost some fees. EMS transport fees will go up, and the fee you get when your unpermitted burglar alarm has a false alarm. And solid waste customers can also expect to pay a little bit more if they have either the medium or large carts. Now, we've already got a rundown of these and other highlights from the budget on our website. All you need to do is go on to KSAT.com and find this story. We'll be updating it throughout the day. Live at City Hall, I'm Garrett Berger, KSAT 12 News.
Thank you, Garrett. Well, that's not the only thing on the agenda at Council today. A major change could be coming to Hemisphere Park. Council is set to vote on a potential curfew. If passed, the park would close at 11 each night and then reopen at 5 in the morning. The park is currently open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. And this possible change means that council members would be revising the city code. And right now it exempts Hemisphere, Alamo Plaza, Market Square, La Villita, and the Riverwalk from having a curfew. So why is council even talking about this? Well, the issue was first brought up back on June 28th during a public safety committee meeting. And at the time, there was an increase in crime downtown. You can read more about this story on our website, KSAT.com. We're also going to update this web article when council votes on the proposal. And let's look out there with live cam. Yeah, already seeing the 90s. I was outside for a shoot just a little while ago, and wow, it was really heating up out there.
It is already heating up. That's exactly right. 90 degrees here in the Alamo City. You know that saying, it's not only just the heat, it's also the humidity. That is once again what we're going to be dealing with this Thursday afternoon and even into the upcoming weekend. So let's get you a quick check at today. Again, right now we're seeing those temperatures in the 80s and low 90s. It feels like 99 already, though, here in San Antonio, so that humidity really helping those heat indices crank up. New Braunfels, your feels like temperature 102 this lunchtime hour, but at least that's a bit lower than where you were this time yesterday. You already had a feels like temperature of 108 on Wednesday at noon. At 90 degrees is what it feels like over in Bernie. 91 the feels like temperature in Kerrville. So with plenty of sunshine expected over the next several hours, our actual air temperature is once again expected to reach 100 degrees here in the Alamo City. If that verifies, that will be our 5th triple-digit day in a row this week, feeling like 105 to even 107 again in a few locations. Then we'll start to see those thermometers fall through the 90s and into the 80s later on tonight. Looking ahead to this weekend and even into next week, high pressure, it's not going anywhere. So that means daily consecutive days in the triple digits are expected, feeling even hotter because of the moisture. Unfortunately, it's not looking like we can squeeze out any of that moisture to make rain. No notable chances in the forecast. Still looking very dry. On that note, though, we did get a new drought monitor update in this morning. We're going to get you a look at it and tell you if there were any changes coming up a little bit later on, Steph.
Now to a top story that we're following today. A man accused of shooting and killing 2 dogs in different incidents over the weekend is in the hospital. San Antonio police say he shot himself when officers tried to serve a search warrant. At last check, the 45-year-old man was still listed in critical condition. Chief McManus said that officers tracked the man to an apartment complex on Wakefield, not far from North Star Mall. Now, San Antonio police sent detectives to the apartment to serve the warrant and heard a gunshot inside. McManus said the gunshot was likely the man shooting himself.
This was an unusually cruel thing to do, and why he did it, who knows?
Well, SWAT sent a drone into the apartment and found the man with a gunshot wound. McManus initially said the man was dead, but police later said he had a pulse. This noon, the search continues for two people that police say shot a teenager 3 times in an apartment complex parking lot last night. It happened around 10 p.m. in the 500 block of Burleson near North Hackberry, just east of the downtown area. Now, police say a 16-year-old was in the parking lot when 2 people pulled up in a car and started shooting at him and then got away. Police say he was hit twice in the body and once in the arm. An ambulance took him to the hospital, and we are still working to find out how he's doing. San Antonio's Ethics Review Board has decided that District 10 Councilman Mark White did violate the city's ethics code when he tried to get local law enforcement agencies to respond to a local attorney's house this spring. White argues he was worried about a child's safety at Martin Phipps' home and had to act. However, an outside attorney advising the ethics board says White already knew police were responding to Phipps' home when he tried contacting the heads of 2 law enforcement agencies. Councilman Manny Pelaez was also with White that night, but has not been the subject of an ethics complaint. After a meeting that stretched past 3 hours, the board decided late last night that White had used his position for private interest and used resources not lawfully available to the public. They gave him a letter of reprimand and referred him to ethics training. The Northside councilman said he strongly disagreed with the findings.
And there is nothing that I did on the night in question that isn't lawfully able to be done by any other citizen of San Antonio. And as I mentioned before, I would act again just as I did.
Well, police did talk with a child that night, but did not see any injuries. Martin Phipps, the local attorney who filed the complaint, texted KSAT a statement saying in part, the Ethics Review Board in an open and transparent proceeding did not accept 2 councilmen attempting to justify their inappropriate actions. My family cannot thank the board enough for their time, patience, and strength and conviction to do what had to be done, end quote. The Biden administration is unveiling the results of its first ever Medicare drug price negotiation, and it could mean cheaper medication for some Americans. 2 mosquitoes tested positive for West Nile in our community. What you can do to keep yourself safe. Well, right now on KSAT.com, Bexar County will be increasing efforts to reduce its mosquito population after 2 tested positive for the West Nile virus. Now, the first mosquito was located in an eastern unincorporated part of the county in a drainage channel near Glen Fair Drive. The second mosquito was located in a western unincorporated part of the county near Highway 90 and Crewald Road. Part of the county's plan to control the mosquito population includes fogging, which they'll be doing early in the morning in those areas. Well, if you live in the affected areas, here is what the county is suggesting so you can protect yourself from mosquitoes. Drain standing water, that includes any water in house gutters, pool covers, and flower pots. Now, if you're working outside, consider wearing long pants and sleeves. You can get clothing that's made with breathable fabric and protects you from the sun since it's so hot outside still. And of course, you can always wear mosquito repellent. And looking out there with live cam, hopefully people aren't too worried about mosquitoes in this hot afternoon at 90 degrees.
Hey, that was good information though about wearing the attire that is very breathable. That is so important if you are planning on hanging outside for extended periods of time. I know we've been dealing with this each and every day, keeping the water bottle handy as well as the sunscreen. Wish that we were able to find a little bit of rain out there. Check out the aquifer reading for this Thursday, down over half of a foot at 630.1. Here is some good news though. Mold's the only allergen present in today's pollen count, and they are low at 460. We're gonna have a full check those toasty temperatures. Your extended forecast coming right up.
Missions baseball could be on the move to downtown. The MLB says their current home at Wolf Stadium is no longer up to their standards. Well, yesterday, some city officials and the team's board of directors presented their proposal to City Council The new stadium would be in the northwest section of downtown and will seat 4,500 people and accommodate 7,500. Its price tag is an estimated $160 million, including the land. So who's going to pick up the tab?
Our vision is to build a best-in-class ballpark that pays for itself and will not require any new or increased city or county taxes.
So how is that possible? Well, the San Antonio Mission Board of Directors and City CFO say that the stadium will be funded with the Mission's equity contribution bonds issued by the San Pedro Creek Development Authority and through the Houston Street Tax Increment Reinvestment Zone. So the next big step of moving forward with the proposal is getting the term sheet approved that is set for City Council consideration on August 29th. And today we are all cheering for Bernie's Little League team. They are playing in the Little League World Series for the first time in Williamsport, Pennsylvania. So last week we did catch up with the team as they were leaving from San Antonio International Airport. The team is taking on the Mid-Atlantic region team this evening. So if you want to watch the game with other fans, there is a watch party starting at 6 p.m. tonight at the Free Roam Brewing Company in Bernie. So way to go, boys. We here at KSAT are already so proud of you for making it this far, and we hope you have a really fun day. That's awesome.
I love how we've been following this story, since we learned that they were going. I know John Paul was out there last week or a couple weeks ago, and just the excitement that as they should, so much excitement. I'm so pumped to see how they do.
I am excited about it too, and it was cool that Devin got to see him before they got to the excitement of even getting on the plane.
Getting to the airport, and hopefully the weather is a bit cooler up there than what they're dealing with here. I know that will certainly help with outdoor sports.
Yes.
We know that it's going to be hot here over the next several days, but what I want to talk about specifically right now is the new drought monitor update that we got in earlier this morning. I want to start off with last week's drought monitor update. We did see some improvements following late July rains in early August. We had a slight break in severe drought out there in the Valley-Kinney County line. Some of the extreme drought, that red pocket in the hill country, was clipped out of central Kendall County. I'm going to go ahead and fade on the new drought monitor. We'll go in 3, 2, 1. You can see there hardly was any change out there over the past 7 days. Still dealing with drought here in San Antonio and points west, really west of the I-35 corridor and closer to the Rio Grande. So we still need plenty of rain to help us with this prolonged drought. And speaking of prolonged drought, it has been over 1,000 days since all of South Central Texas, our KSAT 12 viewing area, was last considered drought-free. That was back in early September of 2021. And I wish, looking forward and moving ahead, that we had some better rain chances in the forecast. Just a 10% chance by next Tuesday and Wednesday. Things are looking very dry in our neck of the woods over at least the next week. And that is all thanks to this high pressure system, this heat high that is still very much in control of our weather pattern. Not a whole lot going on across the state of Texas. It is a little bit of a different story, though, across portions of the Midwest and even approaching the Great Lakes region. There's a low pressure system over the northern tier that actually has a cold front attached to it. I wish that was going to make its way here to San Antonio, but unfortunately it is not. It is going to stay well off to our north, but still places like Chicago, St. Louis, Kansas City, and a 2 out of 5 risk for some severe storms throughout the day today. You can see, though, that rain-making energy and that storm-making energy is just going to be deflected around the northern edge of that high-pressure system over the next week, meaning for us here in San Antonio and surrounding areas, things are going to be very quiet, unfortunately, when it comes to the rain. And even after that, the 8 to 14-day outlook from the Climate Prediction Center does suggest that a good chunk of the state of Texas will still be drier than average as we head into the last week of August. So this is going to be something that we monitor very closely. But of course, this time of year, we know that what we typically just deal with is the heat. By the way, the average for the month of August, 2.15 inches. It is climatologically speaking one of our more drier months out of the year so far. 300ths of an inch earlier this month. That is all we've been able to see here in San Antonio. So we will continue to focus on the heat. Plenty of sunshine out there right now. 90 degrees here in the Alamo City, feeling like 99 whenever you do factor in the humidity. We've seen a few wind gusts upwards of 20 miles per hour. I think later on this evening it could be a little breezy. Winds out of the south-southeast at about 5 to 15 15 miles per hour, a few more gusts upwards of 20 certainly possible. We will continue to see plenty of sunshine, blue skies into this afternoon. Yes, that's going to help those afternoon temperatures climb up to the century mark yet again here in San Antonio, feeling closer to 105 to even 107 in a few locations. We'll start to see those thermometers fall through the 90s and eventually into the 80s later tonight with those mostly clear skies in place. Here's a look at temperatures across the area later on this afternoon by about 4 to 5 o'clock. Triple digits along and south of the Highway 90 corridor, mid to upper 90s expected across the hill country. So that is very similar to what we've seen the past several days. And really, we're just going to continue to copy and paste these conditions each and every afternoon all the way into next week with those daily high temperatures still in the low 100s.
Wow, triple digits again.
I know. At least we're not where we were this time last year. And coming up in the next half hour, we are going to take a look at some comparisons year to date and summer to date of what we've seen in 2024 compared to what we saw in 2023.
That is true. It is better than last year. And we're going to check in with SA Live to see if they have a good question for us this afternoon. How are you doing?
Hi, guys.
Hi, ladies.
Yes, you know, we have got a full house today on the show, okay?
Yes.
We've got members of the Charger Band here, okay?
Churchill?
Wave, you guys.
Woo.
Yes, the Churchill Charger Band. Okay, yes, wave. Y'all didn't know, but we would show you right now. Okay, yes, there they are, okay? So, you know, of course, these kids working hard all year round, you know, so we want you to brag on your child, whether they are in band.
Right, you mentioned Bernie. We're so proud of them also. So whether your child's maybe in the Little League or started the chess club, anything, band, we want to see pictures. So we'd have people scan that QR code and send them in. What activities were you guys in high school?
Oh, in high school? Well, I was in band too.
What did you play?
Clarinet.
How awesome.
Oh, I can totally see that.
Yes, I see that.
I did the sports. We did volleyball, basketball, and track, and it was all a lot of fun. So
busy, right?
Yeah,
Yes.
my little girl's going to follow in Mia's footsteps.
Yay! So much fun.
What about you guys?
For me, cross country, the sports, tennis, soccer, yes.
Nice.
What about Fiona? Was a cheerleader, right?
I was, yeah. Way back
That
in the day. I
doesn't
don't bet like
surprise
that.
I can see that. Can't wait
But
to
yeah,
see the
I did martial
pictures.
arts. Cool. Also,
Wow, I'm learning a lot
scan that
here.
QR code, yes, and let us know. And wave again, you guys.
Thank you for being there.
How fun.
fun, I
I used to love watching.
Yeah, it was fun. It was fun to practice.
Awesome. So talented.
Can't wait for the football season. Well, relief on the way for millions of people, how they could see lower drug prices. Today, for the first time, the White House is unveiling a new Medicare drug deal they say will save Americans more than $1 billion in the first year. ABC's Perry Russell reports the Biden administration negotiating to lower the cost of 10 popular prescription drugs for those using Medicare.
President Biden says the lower drug prices will be a relief for millions of people on Medicare, taking medication to treat issues including heart failure, blood clots, and diabetes. The White House says the costs will be lowered for 10 prescription drugs. The expected first-year savings are $1.5 billion in out-of-pocket costs for Medicare recipients, $6 billion for Medicare as a whole. The prices are set to change in January of 2026. This is the first time the government has been able to negotiate pricing with drug companies about the costs of some of its most expensive drugs. It's the second major medical announcement from President Biden this week, as his term has about 5 months left. Biden in New Orleans Tuesday announcing $150 million in new federal grants in his fight to cure cancer.
And we're moving quickly because we know all families touched by cancers are in a race against time. It's all part of our goal of our cancer moonshot, to end cancer as we know it.
The White House says the list of medication involved includes Eliquis, Entresto, and Januvia. Again, there are 10 in all. A senior Biden administration official says how much people save depends on their coverage. Perry Russell, ABC News, Washington.
The World Health Organization has declared Mpox, formerly known as monkeypox, a public health emergency. However, health officials here in the U.S. stress there is no elevated risk in this country. Here in the States, cases of the disease remain far lower than 2 years ago. So meantime, the version of Mpox now circulating in more than a dozen African countries is pretty serious, and it is affecting younger people. That's a change from previous outbreaks. Well, according to the World Health Organization, those most at risk today are under 15. They account for over 70% of cases and 85% of deaths. The fact that the virus is changing, it's not surprising.
Viruses will continue to evolve. We saw this with COVID, and now with Mpox, we see new versions of the virus that become more transmissible or potentially more fatal.
Well, fatalities worldwide topped 530, while the total number of cases is up an alarming 160% compared to last year. Mpox typically spreads with close skin-to-skin contact. It presents with symptoms like a blister-like rash, fever, muscle aches, and fatigue. It is important to note that the strain in Africa hasn't been seen outside of that continent. Well, happening tonight, Doc Talk is back, and this week it's all about kids. Scan that QR code to send us any medical questions you have related to kids' care. We'll take your questions to a local pediatrician who will join us for Doc Talk today at 6:30 p.m. Well, this back-to-school season, if your child has any food allergies, doctors at Christus Children's Hospital recommend you let the school know right away. So severe cases of an allergic reaction show symptoms from 2 or more body symptoms. So this could include shortness of breath, wheezing, rash on the face and body, swelling, and vomiting. This can also lead to a child going into anaphylactic shock.
The number 1 treatment for anaphylaxis is an EpiPen.
Well, using that EpiPen quickly can help a child. However, parents and teachers must know that EpiPens are available to use at a moment's notice.
Having an EpiPen, but it's at home, is the same thing as not having one at all. So it'd be great if we had one at school.
Well, and Dr. Chow also recommends teaching your kids about the dangers of sharing their food with others. Let's look out there with live cams. Still a hot day for the kids when they're going to recess and when they go for pickup after school.
Absolutely. It is going to be another hot one out there today. Very important to think about as that's going to continue even to next week. So for the kiddos that, yes, are hopping off the bus later on this afternoon, even those that are staying after school for band practice or sports practice, staying hydrated and taking breaks is going to be key, because check out temperatures once again this lunchtime hour. We still have a few 80s for places like Bernie as well as Kerrville, even over in Tarpley there, southern Bandera County. It's 93 on the south side of Bexar County at Stinson, 93 out east in Gonzales, 92 in Floresville. Pleasanton already up to 96. When you factor in all the moisture in place, feels like the triple digits for places like Canyon Lake, New Braunfels, Seguin, and Nixon, feeling like 99 here in San Antonio. Speaking of the kiddos heading home later on this afternoon, here's your bus stop forecast by 3 p.m. 99 here in San Antonio. Plenty of sunshine, feeling closer to 105. And that sunshine is going to continue each and every afternoon for the most part. The UV index is also going to be high, so sunscreen is needed if you are planning on spending a lot of time outdoors. Triple digits continue tomorrow into this weekend and even into next week, with unfortunately no notable chances for rain. We do have some activity to talk about in the tropics. We're going to get you a look at Hurricane Ernesto and where that's expected to go coming up a little bit later on.
Thank you, Mia. Well, the man convicted of killing 5-year-old Dominic Aguilar Acevedo will spend the rest of his life in prison. A judge detailed his punishment yesterday, but not before several witnesses were called to testify about Daniel Garcia's character. And as our Erica Hernandez reports, the testimonies had a common theme: a history of abuse.
He would wrestle me and put me in chokeholds and punch me in the legs.
There were times when he would come up behind me and he would put me in a chokehold.
Daniel Garcia's ex-girlfriend and ex-wife telling a court the abuse they say they suffered at the hands of Garcia. Garcia was recently convicted of beating 5-year-old Dominic Aguilar Acevedo to death back in 2021. Garcia and Dominic's mother, Nicole Aguilar, then drove to Colorado and left the boy's remains in a ravine. Aguilar took a plea deal last week and will spend the next 15 years behind bars. She talked today about how Garcia abused her daughter after Dominic's death.
He punched her in the face one time, and her eye got a little red mark on it from it. And then afterwards, when we were When we were driving down to Costa Rica, he was being physically abusive to her as well.
Garcia's ex-wife, Samantha Perez, also spoke in detail about several incidents of alleged abuse against her and their dogs.
I had expressed to him numerous times that I wasn't happy and that I had wanted to leave. And we would get into altercations about me wanting to leave.
The defense tried to discredit both women's testimony, asking why they never reached out to the authorities about the, quote, stories they were just now speaking about. But Judge Mesa ultimately had the last word.
I hereby sentence you to a term of life imprisonment in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice Institutional Division.
Now, Garcia can appeal that sentence, but for now, this puts an end to this case. Erica Hernandez, KSAT 12 News.
Vice presidential candidate Tim Walz says he's ready to take the debate stage on October 1st and face off with his Republican opponent, J.D. Vance. However, Vance hasn't signed on. CBS News posted a debate invitation on social media on Wednesday, offering the candidates 4 potential dates. Walz responded, "See you on October 1st, J.D." A Kamala Harris campaign official confirmed Walz's acceptance. Vance has not committed yet. He said he will likely participate, but wants to talk through the debate rules with CBS first. Donald Trump's attorneys are asking the judge in his New York hush money case to postpone sentencing until after the presidential election in November. Now, Trump was convicted in May of 34 felony counts of falsifying business records to cover up a payment to adult film star Stormy Daniels before the 2016 election. Now, she says she had an affair with Trump, which he denies. Sentencing was originally set for July 11th, but Judge Juan Merchan pushed it back to September 18th after a Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. The filing for another delay is the latest attempt by Trump's attorneys to fight the conviction and remove Judge Merchan from the trial. Car insurance prices are still high. That's despite decreased costs for new, used, and rental cars. However, vehicle insurance has yet to follow suit. Rates are up nearly 19% for the 12-month period that ended in July, according to the Consumer Price Index. Analysts at the CPI say car insurance premiums often lag behind other factors, including sticker price and car repairs. They say many insurers are considering changes to their pricing, and some have already started doing so. T-Mobile will pay a $60 million settlement over alleged data breach violations. That is the largest ever fine by the Committee on Foreign Investment in the U.S. T-Mobile is accused of failing to disclose and take action against data leaks that happened after its $26 billion merger with Sprint in 2020 and therefore violated a national security agreement for the merger. A spokesperson for T-Mobile said the incident happened because of technical issues that the company experienced during its post-merger integration, and the breach did not impact customer information. Well, if you still have some school supply shopping to do, you might be hunting for the right laptop for your student. So what to look for? Still ahead. Well, if you haven't done all of your back-to-school shopping, get ready to budget. So American families are expected to come very close to last year's record high in spending. The National Retail Federation estimates that families with children in elementary through high school plan to spend on average nearly $875 on school supplies, clothing, and electronics. That is based on their annual survey, and they say there's a reason.
Electronics are a much bigger portion of back to school and college spending than they used to be. Kids these days, whether they're in elementary school, middle school, or high school, are usually attending class equipped with some sort of electronic device to aid in their learning.
It is even more expensive for college students, so they're expected to spend more than $1,300 on average for the upcoming school year. And since tech is a big part of the school supply list this year, choosing the right products for your child is important. Our Japhanie Gray with what experts are saying about the best laptop for your child and how you can save money while shopping.
From homework to gaming, kids might want their own laptop for a number of reasons, but finding the right one can be tricky. Before making the big purchase, Nicholas De Leon at Consumer Reports suggests asking yourself if your child is ready for their own laptop.
Whether or not they're equipped to handle expensive equipment, whether or not they generally follow your rules.
Educating your child on the internet safety is important too.
I would say the first thing is just to have a conversation with your child. We do recommend, kind of set the rules of the road and let them know, what content is appropriate to watch and what stuff is not appropriate to watch.
Next, check in with the school, since many provide laptops for students to use for educational purposes or will give suggestions on what to buy.
Usually school districts will kind of have like a technology policy because, there's a million laptops out there. You don't want to spend, money that you don't want to spend. It's easy to overspend on a laptop.
De Leon says, consider your child's age.
We find that generally speaking, elementary school kids, they really don't need much. So that's why we do recommend a Chromebook.
For older children with more developed interests, a pricier laptop might be a worthy investment.
A middle schooler, high schooler, maybe they're into editing video, maybe they're into editing photos, maybe they're into playing video games. This is when a MacBook might make sense.
Consumer Reports says now is one of the best times of the year to shop for a laptop since back-to-school sales are still going on. Buy refurbished laptops can also save you some money.
We recommend looking into refurbished directly from the manufacturer because those usually have the best warranties and you just want that peace of mind.
And stretch your dollars by preserving your tech with a laptop case.
And just to make sure that you tell your kid, hey, maybe don't eat near it, maybe don't drink near it. This is a relatively expensive device.
Again, that was our Daphne Gray reporting. And oh my goodness, if you have the laptop, don't leave it outside, like in your backpack, and just leave it in the sun.
Honestly, just my phone being in the car has been overheating so quickly lately if the sun's on it, just even a little bit, because yes, it is super hot outside, but we love to put things in perspective for you. At least it's not as bad as what we were dealing with last year. Last summer, the hottest on record that we had ever seen here in San Antonio. For the year, by this time last year, we already had 49 triple-digit days, not including today. For 2024, we've seen 18. Today we'll make 19 if we do top out at the century mark. And also when it comes to our average summer temperature, this year so far we are 2 degrees below where we were this time last summer. So that is a little bit of good news, but still hot over the next several days. Another check of that extended forecast coming up.
Good afternoon. Yeah, we're already at 90 degrees. We were talking about earlier about leaving your electronics, like even in your car.
It's so easy for them to overheat, I feel like, with all of the hot temperatures and things that we've seen over the past several days and what we're going to continue to see into the weekend and next week as well. We talk about the heat all the time this time of year. Something else that we need to keep very close eyes on, also the tropics. So the peak of hurricane season residing on September 10th, so we're just under a month from that. And we are seeing some activity out there in the Atlantic Basin. This is Hurricane Ernesto. We just got a brand new update in from the National Hurricane Center. Winds now sustained at 85 miles per hour. It's moving to the north at 14 miles per hour. So let's check out the latest forecast track together. It is still expected to work its way farther up to the north. You can see staying well east of the United States East Coast. So that's good. This is not expected to impact the United States. It did produce a lot of rain, though, over Puerto Rico over the past few days. It is expected to remain hurricane strength around Category 2 by the time it reaches Bermuda Saturday morning and then start working its way up into the northern Atlantic throughout the upcoming weekend and even into early next week. As a result, hurricane warnings have been issued for Bermuda. There is the potential to see 4 to 8 inches of rain, localized 12 plus inches in Bermuda by the time all is said and done. So again, this is not going to impact the lower 48 here at home, and especially not San Antonio or South Central Texas, but it is something that we will continue to monitor. And we're also keeping very close tabs on the Atlantic Basin anyways. As of right now, there are a few other disturbances behind Ernesto, but they are not expected to develop as of right now. And that is likely due in part to a few plumes of Saharan dust working across the Atlantic, at least this weekend into this weekend weekend. We're not really expecting any high concentrations of dust to move in to our area locally or anything like that, but also something we will monitor for you as we near the second half of the month of August. So in the meantime, the heat will be the name of the game, and it's not just us dealing with the heat this Thursday. Again, 100 degrees, our forecast high here in San Antonio. Check out Abilene, expected to reach 104, 98 in Little Rock, 100 in Oklahoma City. That is where we will find a mix of heat advisories and even excessive heat warnings in place for eastern Texas, across the Red River, into parts of the Central Plains and the Deep South as well, thanks to that high pressure system still very much in control. And throughout the remainder of this week, you can see, while yes, the center of that high pressure system is going to wobble around a little bit, it is still going to be the main controlling feature of our weather pattern, meaning temperatures will stay elevated. Daily triple digits are expected, and unfortunately, rain chances are out of the picture for the most part. Sinking air suppressing any chances for rain, but we do still have the moisture in place, making it feel even hotter outside. Current feels like temperature right around 100 here in San Antonio this hour. I think we will see those heat indices once again climb into the 105 to even 107 degree range for a few of us later on this afternoon. 97 for the air temperature by 7 p.m. so still toasty if you're stepping out for any dinner plans later on this evening. Then we'll start to see those thermometers fall into the 80s by about 10 o'clock later on tonight and into the remainder of the overnight. Here's a look at where those daytime highs are expected to climb up to later on today. 103 in Pleasanton, 99 out east in Gonzales, 97 in Kerrville, and 95 over in Del Rio. Plenty of sunshine expected each and every afternoon. Still very warm and muggy to start, right around 80 degrees all the way into early next week, with more opportunities to tack on to our total for daily triple digits all the way into next week.
Thank you, Mia. Well, parents and families know about school districts' shrinking budgets, growing class sizes, and the challenges that schools are facing. So how do you support them? Well, here's one way. You join the Parent Teacher Association, or the PTA. Our Patty Santos tells us all about it.
It is hard work, but it's rewarding work and it's worth it.
Ryan Brown, a Castle Hills Elementary School watchdog and PTA member, got involved because he wanted to get to know the staff.
I just wanted to see what was going on and how I could just kind of check in on my kid, honestly.
I grew up with a PTA mom, and she was involved and did all the things and came through the classrooms, and I loved having my mom on campus.
Kelly Venegas knows the impact it has on kids to have parents be involved. Both work together to make their kids' campus the best.
We're really just here to encourage and grow our campus for our children.
They are one of hundreds of PTAs that help support teachers and staff at our local schools. How, you ask?
When we do fundraise, it does go back to our school, our campus, and our community.
PTA set up special events for teachers, organize parties, bike rodeos, and find ways to improve the campus. It's a voluntary job, of course.
Yeah, the more people you have, the easier the job gets because it's not just one person doing it.
Don't have a lot of time? It's okay.
The good thing about PTA is you can be as involved as you want to be, just signing up. Just signing up and helping with the $6 it is now.
Being a part of the PTA is not getting credit. It's about doing what's best for the kids.
Patty Santos, KSAT 12 News.
Hi, welcome back. Let's go ahead and check back with Jen, Fiona, and the Churchill Marching Band. Hi, guys.
Oh, yes, it is a sizzling summer here on the show. And you know where it also is a sizzling summer? Over at SeaWorld. They are celebrating with a summer barbecue event, and we are going to tell you how you can get a family 4-pack of tickets.
Ooh, nice. Who doesn't love SeaWorld? Hey, and like Stephanie said, you know who else is here? Yes, we've got the Churchill Charger Band in the house, and we are going to chat with them. They're helping us kick off this back-to-school season, and we'll learn more about their new program, which is tied to a very popular Netflix show.
All right, and of course, we love supporting all the amazing students like these right here, just hitting it out of the park. So we would love for you to brag on your child, whether they are in band, whether they're in an extracurricular activity, it doesn't matter. We want you to scan that QR code and share a photo.
Yes, we want to see all the photos. Speaking of back to school, We are talking back to school fashion. Now look at these cuties. We got Carmelo and Sasha. And you know what? These outfits, less than $15. We're gonna tell you where you can get these great deals.
And some fine dining elegance and a dash of gold. And guess what? You get a brand new taco experience. Wait till you see the secret ingredient inside the 24-karat taco.
Ooh, I'm intrigued. Can't wait to try it. That and much more coming up, including all your weekend events.
Okay, gearing up for another hot afternoon, a high around 100 degrees. If that verifies, it will be our 5th 100-degree day in a row. Feeling closer to 105 by 4 to 5 p.m. Because of all of that humidity, 97 by 7 p.m. Then we'll start to fall into the low 80s or upper 80s later on tonight. More sunshine each and every day tomorrow, even heading into the weekend and next week. High temperatures maybe building by a degree or two. 102 by Monday and Tuesday. So just be careful out there. Nothing we haven't dealt with before, but it definitely is still pretty hot out there.
That is true. We'll tough it out again. And I know Mia and I are super excited about the Churchill Chargers band
that
at
is
SA Live.
So cool. I can't wait to see what they come up with.
Well, SA Live starts right now.
Run.
Hold on tight to your popcorn. It's going to be a thrilling weekend at the movies. See the new flicks headed to theaters.
Well, bring your appetite and the fun over to SeaWorld. We are showing off their red, white, and barbecue for a truly sizzling summer.
This is some of the fanciest food around. How you can get a bite of these tacos topped with some sparkle. It's today on SA Live.
Celebrating 10 years, live from historic Market Square. This is SA Live.